Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm a therapist in the Seattle, Washington area with my practice, Next Chapter Counseling. And I'm going to be talking today about what you can do if you are going through a breakup with someone and logistically they are not working with you to separate. So, when a breakup happens, especially if you are legally married or if you were living with someone, sometimes even if you weren't living together, but you just had been together a long time, is that different parts of your lives get interwoven. You guys maybe purchase things together, you decide to get on the same phone plan or the same car insurance or whatever it may be, so that when you guys separate, not only is there the emotional loss that happens there, but there's a lot to sort through logistically as each of you go about reestablishing your lives. So if you have an ex who is not working with you to do the logistical separation of things that needs to happen, what can you do? So first I want to talk about something to just keep in mind that's really important to remember here when this process is going on, which is that it's not a lot of times about the thing itself or the stuff. More often than not, this is really about the person who's, fighting you and dragging their feet, wanting to feel like they still have a sense of control. When a breakup occurs, there is a lot of loss, and trying to rebuild your life is not easy. Your footing may feel unsteady for a while, and we can want to cling to what we know and what we already have rather than letting go of that and going through the work that it takes to reestablish something new. That can be pretty emotionally draining, and a lot of people want to keep things the same rather than try to do something else. So that can be a big reason. And so, really, it's about wanting to feel still in control of our lives when we may be going through these big changes of a separation, maybe figuring out now where we're going to live, financially, just how we're going to afford things on one income instead of two, whatever it might be. A lot of times it comes down to I still just want to feel in control of my life in some way. I'm not wanting to let go of this thing. Sure, sometimes for some people, they are dragging their feet because they purposefully want to make this breakup hard for you. It has this vindictive, manipulative quality that does sometimes happen. But for other people, it's not so much that. They are just really struggling with this reestablishment period. And if you reach out to them saying that you want to figure out, say, separating your phone plan, they just may not want to do that work with you. Not because they want to hurt you in any way, but just because they don't want to lose something that they've previously had to figure out a new way to do it. So that's a lot of times why this occurs, for why your ex might not be working together with you to figure these things out, though you're trying to work with them to make it happen. So that's the big thing that can happen for why this is. And in terms of what to do about it, there's really two things that I recommend doing with approaching this. The first is, right, to try to work together with them, to reach out to them via text, email, phone call, whatever way of communication you think will work best to contact them, and to say what thing you would like to work on. Hey, I'd like for us to separate our phone plan, or I have some of your belongings. When can you come get them? That kind of a thing. Reach out to them and see what they say. And I would, after that point, wait a couple days, 2 to 3, to figure out if they're going to text you back. That gives most people plenty of time to respond, even if they are busy with work or other things, to reach out to you and to share their 2 cents on what they want to occur here. So, if a couple days pass and they haven't texted you back or returned your calls or whatever it is, then you move on to step 2. So step 2 is trying to take matters into your own hands. Now, this is going to be unique for every situation, and there's no way to cover every circumstance. This is going to be different depending on who your ex is. This is going to be different depending on what you are logistically trying to separate. There's too many details to give really specific guidance here. But what I recommend is, rather than trying to reach out to them again or wait around longer or whatever it is, to try to see what can be done for you to figure things out yourself. This may mean going to the place and to say, hey, this is my ex. We broke up. Now I'm figuring out what to do. For a lot of places, this is not an uncommon scenario. And there may be certain circumstances where they say, sorry, we can't help you unless they give consent. But for example, you might be able to start establishing your own phone plan. You might be able to go and open up your own checking account and start getting your paychecks deposited there, or whatever it is, to start trying to take steps forward to reestablish your own life, and letting these institutions help you do that. See what options they have available for you for how you can figure things out yourself, with reestablishing new credit cards that your ex doesn't have access to, or whatever it might be. Start taking those steps. And some people then wonder, well, do I need to let my ex know? And you can if you want. You can absolutely send a courtesy text a couple days later to be like, hey, I didn't hear back from you, so this is what I've done. You can do that. But it's really important, above all, to not get into this back and forth waiting game out of trying to be nice and considerate and patient and all of that. You are patient and considerate when you wait a few days for them to respond to you. And if they're not going to put forth the time and effort to work with you to separate these things, you have every right to start establishing whatever you need to establish on your own to start moving forward. And this is the back and forth that a lot of people fall into after they've gone through a breakup. They want to be the nice one, and so they wind up wasting a lot of time and effort trying to work with their ex. If their ex just isn't going to do it for whatever their reasons are, it's best to just let it go and to start moving forward. And that may mean repurchasing new things if trying to get your belongings back from them isn't going very well. That may mean what it comes to, but that will save you a lot of time and energy in the long run to just bite the bullet and do it yourself than to wait around on their timeline, which may never come. So that's what I recommend. In next week's video, in a similar vein, I'm going to be reviewing how to handle it if you have an ex who's not letting go emotionally. So this is about an ex who won't let go logistically, but how to handle it if you have an ex who is emotionally still trying to hang on to the relationship. What can you do then? If you have a question for me about love or relationships, send it to me in an email at nextchapter.michelle@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone.